Stoke win again, Middlesbrough win again, Coventry score a load of goals and most of the parachute teams can't get going. This is last week's show all over again, isn't it? Welcome to your Championship hot takes for round 3, where we are doubling down on a lot of things that happened last week. Some narratives are being pushed a little bit further by the EFL Championship teams, particularly up there at the top of the table. Get involved in the comments. Let me know how your team went this weekend, especially if you were live and in flesh at an EFL game. Thank you, everybody, for the happy birthday wishes yesterday. The answer to your next question is old. And it's not getting very old for Stoke City fans up at the top of the Championship table. Never trust Stoke at the start of the season. Say I always. If they keep winning, we might just have to start trusting them, mightn't we? 3 wins out of 3. And people said to me last week, oh, Ben, well, they played Derby, and Derby got loads of injuries and they're struggling. They played Sheffield Wednesday, and Sheffield Wednesday are a mess off the pitch, aren't they? And they haven't beaten anybody yet. Tell me when they beat somebody. And I said, okay, fair enough, I get it. Look, they're going to Southampton next week, Year 1 parachute team away from home. Can we trust them if they win there? They won there. Not only did they win there, they won there in pretty testing circumstances, because it was 2-1, but they actually went down to 10 men. Baker loves a goal from central midfield, spoiler alert. And Mbama, a bit of a weird red card. He's actually going in on goal and goes down, use whatever words you're comfortable with, and gets a second yellow card. So they go down to 10 on the hour mark and then extend it to go 2-0 up. And Sorba Thomas is just one of the signings of the summer. We said this last week. We also said Vic Johansson's great in goal. What a throw! An assist. Not booting it down the pitch, hurling it down the pitch from Johansson. Brilliant stuff. Harwood Bellis gets one back pretty quickly. And you'd think then, 10 against 11, parachute team playing at home. They're going to get the equaliser here. But Stoke do the business and they stay top of the table. Outstanding start. 9 points up from Stoke. Where are they going next? 2 home games. West Brom and Birmingham. I mean, forget the Birmingham game because we go to international break before that happens. Also playing the EFL Cup. So it's kind of 3 home games in a row now. But again, forget the third one because of the international break. If they progress in the EFL Cup, Stoke, and don't lose to West Brom, they've set themselves that little extra buffer, haven't they? And they've got 10 points from the first 4. That is blooming outstanding. And by God, if they go 4 for 4, if we're sat here at the end of international break, or sorry, end of block of fixtures going into international break number 1, there's a lot of people going to be shuffling Stoke around on their 1 to 24 lists, aren't they? And I think a theme of today is continuity through the summer. Have you got the same manager? Have you signed and sold a load of players? And Stoke fans know more than most about changing manager and signing and selling a load of players. And they haven't really done that this season. And go figure, they're getting a good start. We will also have a theme today, being that particularly the more powerful teams, will that swing around? Probably, potentially, maybe. But for the rest of the sides, you will get a fairly good idea right now of the lay of the land of the season. And it is looking very nice for Stoke. Getting a comment, Stoke fans, and getting the comments, Middlesbrough fans. What a start for handsome Rob Edwards. They went to Norwich and won 2-1. And this was this could have been even looser, this one, couldn't it? We could have got even more goals. It was probably owe Sam Parkin an apology on this one. He said, this is going to be both teams to score, and this has been goalie recently. And I said, it's Manning and Edwards now, isn't it? So it might be a little bit more sensible. But no, we did get both teams to score, and there's just a vital period just before half-time for Boro, wasn't it? Azaz and Conway nicking the goals, and that quick double sucker punch, bam, bam. And yeah, there's lots of red cards as well. Jacob Wright kind of dives into a tackle just on the hour mark. And when you're the home side and you're chasing a game, you're coming out in the second half, you want to just go for it, score the next goal. You don't want the next key event to be a red card, do you? Which then tips it in Borough's favour. And then I guess that's the kind of basketball-y nature of it. And couple of 1v1s and decent chances. And then it's a championship game involving Norwich. So Josh Sargent obviously scores, doesn't he? He's 3 for 3, isn't he, in the scorers stakes. But Middlesbrough see it out. They have got the extra man, remember. But still, Norwich can get noisy. And you know when a game swings in that way, you feel the next goal is coming for the team who's coming back. But yeah, it ends 2-1 to Boro. And what a start. And this has very, very much crept up on me. We kind of thought, well, the business has been slow and we were expecting something to happen that didn't happen and then a couple of players to maybe come in. And it's on we go. And said player, Hackney, has come into the team in game 2. I thought game 1 against Swansea, okay, well, that could have been 0-0. He scored from a set play. Bosh, 3 points. Okay, we'll judge it at Millwall. First half against Millwall. And then Boro run out 3-0 winners. So how much more evidence do I need now? They've gone away from home. Now one at Millwall and at Norwich, gone 3 for 3. Azaz in the goals, Conway in the goals. Hackney in team. I'm fed up of talking about Hackney in this transfer window. But I don't know if there's a conversation that's been had of, look, I don't know their contract status. Borough fans will tell me in the comments. But maybe a conversation has been had. Look, you had your chance to go. You're not going, certainly this window. And, if I ran a football club, God knows what that would look like, I'd be saying, look, you can go, but you're going in August. You're not going in January. If you're going, you can go next summer now. And, maybe they do keep Morris and Hackney together. And maybe Handsome Rob has got his mojo back. He sounded a lot better. I listened to the presser on the way home from my gig last night, and yeah, looking good. What have Borough got to round out this first block? They've got Sheffield United, which feels like a nice game at the moment. We'll talk about Sheffield United in a minute. There are your two 100%ers, Stoke and Middlesbrough. Outstanding. Getting the comments, Borough fans, as we go to our 7 pointers. You know me, 2 points per game at any point of the season is happy days, isn't it? And all of these teams are over that marker after the 3 games. And Coventry have scored 12 goals in their last 2 games. And I don't want to rain on their parade. I think Frank said this himself, Frank Lampard, in the interview. He said, look, we're not going to score 5 and 7 every single week. And, you don't want to be, as I say, raining on anyone's parade, because it's like, is this a side that's going to batter the entire league and score 4s and 5s, I don't know, eight times during the season? Probably not, but is this a side, again, like we said, just about Stoke, where what's happening at the top of the Championship table is these are sides that haven't maybe, Middlesbrough changed manager, but haven't had massive kind of ructions in the squad. And we spoke about Coventry's long-term, kind of improvement. And, playoff, semi-final, extra time last time, lots of wins in the second half of the season. Should it be a surprise they've started well? No. Am I surprised they've scored 12 goals in 2 games? I'm surprised anybody scored 12 goals in 2 games. That is sensational, isn't it? So, yeah, well done, Coventry. And we'll all be sat here, won't we? If something goes to goal difference on the last day, we'll say, remember August? Remember when, 12 goals went on the plus, and what have we got? +6, +8 in terms of goal difference over the 2 games as well. The other thing we should mention is, after all of the nonsense, all of the rubbish Coventry fans had to put up with, Ricoh Arena, Sisu, going and playing in Northampton and in Birmingham twice in not too distant past, I've got to say, under Mark Robbins, when they were getting promoted from League One. If you weren't following that, that was done in St Andrews. Was it? I think it was the first season in the Championship in St Andrews as well. I think it might have been. So there's been all kinds of nonsense, and they announced that they own the stadium now. Doug King, the Coventry owner, threw that in yesterday, and just when you thought the day couldn't have got any better, they banged in 7 goals, and they're 5-0 up at half time. Just absolutely sensational. Let me just bring the first half stats up on my iPad. I was going to say everything went in. They had 10 shots. They had 5 shots on target in the first half, and all 5 of them did go in. So finishing absolutely on point from Coventry in this one. And you know when the confidence gets going. And I mean, to be fair, they did this against Derby, didn't they? I think they scored on like 72, 75 and 79 or something. Look at that, 35, 37, 43. They did exactly the same thing. Again, we had doubles, very good double by Victor Torp in the second half. We had a double from Jack Rudoni in the first half and a double from Hadji Wright in the first half. And yeah, I can't believe we were saying it a couple of weeks ago. Oh, well, Coventry, they need to bring a striker in here. He doesn't fancy Sims. We don't necessarily know what Wright's best position is. You know, is he going to be a wide forward? But at the moment, that 4, Thomas Asante, Mason Clark, Rudoni and Wright are banging. I mean, they've got 5 between them in this game, plus 1, 2, 3, 4 assists. 9 goal contributions between the front 4 in one game. So, yeah, Coventry are at it. They have ridden out the momentum from last season, haven't they? And they have started beautifully. Go to Millwall in the EFL Cup. Then they go to Oxford. Now, Oxford, I think, we're going to come on to them. They're pointless, aren't they? Oxford have got 0 so far. So Coventry will be eyeing up the 10-point first block. And look, it's going to want to stay unbeaten and keep the momentum going. Are they going to score 5 or 7 every week? No, but it looks really, really good for Coventry as we head towards the end of August. What a day, Cov fans. Let me know if you were there in the comments. We'll deal with a draw quickly, try and focus on the winners in the hot takes. But West Brom are up there. They've got 7 from 3 as well. Could have been 9 in this one. I hate talking about refereeing decisions, but this was a game that ended 1-1 with Ryan Mason not doing the post-match press because he got red carded for. I think there's 2 incidents in there. There's one that looks like a nailed-on penalty, doesn't it? Again, I don't want to go too hard on referees and whatnot. You know, they miss stuff. They get stuff wrong. Look, they got stuff wrong. And I think the one Mason went for was I think it was Hegebo running through, gets a tug, didn't go down, and I guess it's probably the compounding of the 2 decisions. And Ryan Mason's lost his head, and I mean, some people in the comments will say, understandably so. Some people will say, "Oh no, he's the manager. Ben, he needs to keep calm." But it's an emotional game, and I guess the narrative from Mason when we do hear from him is that they should have won the game, and you know, maybe refereeing decisions cost them. I'm sure the Pompey fans will be saying, don't forget about us. You know, made some decent chances, didn't they? In that first half, could have taken the lead. Brilliant goal by Mikey Johnston as well. I didn't think that shot was on there with the right foot from, you know, to angle it that way without any curl as well. Just smashes it across the keeper into the back of the net. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. 2 brilliant goals in this game. This was so old school. Cross in from the left-hand side. Who put that cross in? Josh Murphy, who had such a great season for assists last year. And just real wing-up, target man, focal point striker stuff. Bishop heads it in. So, on the one hand, I know what the West Brom fans are going to say. We should be 3 for 3, Ben. Referee, da-da-da. Fine. That could be the case. Now, I'm not, when I say I hate talking about referees, if you sit in my seat and, 8 out of 10 fans each week want to moan about referees, it's a lot. So you just have to kind of pick your spots where refs and decisions that don't go the way teams want them to go come in. So I'm not pouring water on that. So that'll be the outlook from West Brom, but good start, and Pompey as well. And I think the encouraging thing, and John Massinio mentioned this as well, is the away form. So they've already gone. Well, in fact, they've lost the home game, picked up all their points away from home. Pompey haven't. They've already gone to Oxford and won, and West Brom and got a draw and lost the home game against Norwich, haven't they? So we thought about Pompey. Well, they'll be good at home. Can they pick up some more points away? They'll be looking good if they start to win some home games, having already put 4 on the board away from home. There you go, 1-1 at the Hawthorns. Birmingham 1, Oxford 0 over at St Andrews. And it's amazing how hierarchies move in football, isn't it? It's, Oxford survived and survived well last year, whilst Birmingham were a division down, but given the way the Birmingham recruitment's worked and the momentum is there at St Andrews, they've kind of immediately come in significantly above Oxford in the hierarchy, and you get a game where you've got the Birmingham fans coming away and saying, oh, that was hard work. This team that's been in the Championship for a longer run than we have currently came and kind of set up to stop, and we knew that would be the case. And maybe Birmingham and Chris Davis and the Blues fans have got to get used to that there will be teams that come for a point, which is fine, isn't it? That's the deal. Birmingham have got a lot of good players. They've got a lot of momentum, and 16 shots to 6. To be fair, it says on my iPad here, 1 shot on target each. So I suppose if you're Gary Rowett, you might be saying, well, we got most of the game plan right there. Just stop the 1 shot on target, which happens to be the goal from Seong Ho Pike. It's always good in these games to score in the first half, isn't it? Because the pressure builds. And if you've got this narrative of home team going for the win, away team going to frustrate, and you go 0-0 into the second half, not only do you think, oh, we need to win this game from the home team's point of view, you do think, could the travelling team actually nick it? Can they get up the pitch and take that one chance and pull off that kind of perfect away defensive performance? Well, no is the answer. And go figure, a lot of these games do finish, 1-0. The levy breaks in the end and the home team get the goal. And that is what happened in this one. And not massively surprised that Birmingham are in the top 6 after 3 games. If you remember me saying lots and lots of hype through the summer, and it got to the point where it was like, I just want to see them play now. Let's just start the season and stop talking about this team that's going to be brilliant and has been brilliant last season and was brilliant in their recruitment and, has got brilliant momentum and all of this brilliant. Let's be brilliant in the Championship. And they've started really nicely, haven't they? Birmingham, I saw the opening day. They're kind of unlucky not to beat Ipswich, weren't they, on opening day? That would be 9 points for 9, wouldn't it, if they had not conceded that late penalty in that game. And then I suppose it swings around about then because you get the late turnaround in the second game. That could easily have not been a win, but was a win. And this one a little bit more kind of work a day, true to form. But also they got the win in the EFL Cup, so they've won 3 of their 4 fixtures. Going into international break, they go away to Leicester. Now there you go. If you want brilliant, if we see Birmingham pipe up at Leicester and go and get themselves a nice away win, everybody will be rubbing their hands, particularly those people who've had a little bit of a flutter on Birmingham to be promoted this season if they go in with 10 points and an away win at Parachute Team. By the way, they will then have, of course, played, if you include Sheffield United in the EFL Cup, they've played 3 Parachute teams in the first 5 as well. So there is that when it comes to Birmingham. It's, they've not had it totally easy in the first games, whatever we're about to say about the Parachute teams, maybe not necessarily getting going and being in a bit of a state of chaos. Speaking of a bit of a state of chaos, I'm not saying Oxford are disorganised and chaotic, but they have got 0 points, which is not preferable after 3 games. Poor start by Gary Rowett and the boys for Oxford. Get in the comments, Birmingham and Oxford fans. And, can I miss this one out? Can I? Do you give me permission? Well, often on this one, I would say Preston 1, Ipswich 0. I'm not going to go chapter and verse. I'll speak about this on the Blue Monday podcast tonight. But I'm not hosting the Blue Monday podcast tonight. Mikey's sitting in for me. I'm off to Stafford County Park to play at a festival with That's So 90s. And yeah, well, let's not make it all about Ipswich straight away. Let's talk about Preston and say Preston 1, Ipswich 0. And Osmajic is scoring and Preston are winning. And in consecutive weeks, Preston have beaten Leicester and beaten Ipswich. So the first thing you do need to say is let's not make this all about... and do you remember in the public apology we did for Preston last week, I said, don't make it all about the parachute team, which I did in the prediction and said, if Leicester turn up at Preston, they'll get the win. And, Preston won that 1-2-1. And let's not do that today. Tremendous start, really, by Preston. Got the draw at QPR on opening day. And as I say, 2 victories against Leicester and Ipswich, who were both in the Premier League last season. Got the goal early, Osmajic from the penalty spot. Kieran McKenna furious with Ipswich's defending here. And this is what Preston, maybe did well against Leicester and are going to have to do well this season. A lot of people had Preston, me included, right down at the bottom in their 1-24. It's just on the basis of that horrible slide at the end of last season. You can only go with the information you've got at the time. Obviously, 7 points in the first 3 games might help people change their minds. But yeah, they've got to get on top of teams, be aggressive. Osmajic kind of sums that up in terms of his approach, doesn't he? But he is banging the goals in. I think it's Greaves conceded the penalty for Ipswich. And yeah, he's played into Preston's hands there. And Osmajic sticks the pen in minute 11. And I've got one of those momentum graphs on there. And then it's just quite poor from Ipswich, isn't it? Because they've had a hell of a lot of the play. The match count is 15 shots to 2. However, it's only 2 shots to 1 on target. And look, we just mentioned it talking about the Birmingham-Oxford game, didn't we? You get games where there's a team who seems to be having more of the shots and not the other way around. And sometimes they go this way as well, where Preston get the goal and they can sit and Ipswich don't take their chances. And yeah, Preston nicely organised, striker scoring goals, good at home. Dan Iverson is the star-rated player here on FootMob. So your keeper's got to play well. You get the clean sheet, you get the win. It's not Preston's fault Ipswich are in a bit of a muddle and can't shoot straight at the moment, is it? So, yeah, well done. Well done, Preston. Did I say that not too graciously? Ipswich always suck at Preston as well, don't they? Never get a good result at Preston. One of them grounds. Do you believe in bogey grounds? I always say to people when they talk to me about like the manager of the month curses, I shut them straight down. Curses aren't real, mate. So, yeah, I better shut myself down and say, look, Preston, fair play, got the win, and a really, really good start for Paul Heckingbottom. But I will make it about Ipswich now because people will want to hear me talk about Ipswich. That's just the deal over here. And Ipswich are in a muddle, aren't they? A real muddle. And Kieran McKenna is right to point out that things have happened very fast at Ipswich. And you talk, for example, about someone like Coventry, where you've got a real nice, gentle sense of upward trajectory. Would have been a bit more extreme if they'd won the playoff final a couple of years ago, but still improving. Stability, continuity, all of that stuff. And, McKenna talked about connections between players and pattern of play not being there. And the most frustrating thing for Ipswich fans is connection, pattern of play. The obvious example is they got promoted from League One, barely changed any players. It was so strong that they got promoted straight through the Championship in quite miraculous circumstances 2 seasons ago. And McKenna is right to say that things have moved so fast that all of a sudden your balance sheet and everything has completely changed, and you're going into a Premier League season with a League One squad. Essentially, you have to try and sign accordingly, and you're essentially between two teams far quicker than you necessarily want it to be, or necessarily is preferable. It's easy to sit there and be wise after the event and say it's happened too quickly, but I'm sure everybody would have been being very wise if Ipswich hadn't have tried to compete in the Premier League and spend the money they earned from the double promotion. So when you lose in football, you're damned if you do and you are damned if you don't. And Ipswich are just not winning at the moment and have been terrible for all of 2025. And I can see what McKenna's trying to do. He's riding out that first 11. Kaius, Akpom have been signed, but they're not really featured yet. So they will long-term come in terms of connections and pattern of play and all of those buzzwords to just describe winning and playing good football and the more simpler outlook. But Ipswich got to get themselves organised. They're not used to winning. They're not playing well. They're not connecting things together, to use that word again. And McKenna also said, it's kind of, you talk about time and is there time to develop this? And it took a while in League One. It wasn't until the back end of the season that everything clicked. And maybe we'll see something similar this season, because Ipswich were powerful financially in League One. They're powerful now. They've got parachute payment, and managers and teams that have parachute payments don't tend to get time, do they? That egg timer is turned over the second you get relegated, and you've got to get yourself up the table before anything clicks and just win. But yeah, they really need a win over Derby in the next game. No wins so far for Ipswich, who are 18th in the table with 2 points, just below Norwich. How about that? Welcome back to the Championship, Ipswich. But yeah, well done. Well done, Preston. You've got to understand, people want to hear me talk about Ipswich over here on the channel. Get the comments. Some road wins here to talk about. And this is a classic Championship, isn't it? Or classic football making you look silly. The one parachute team we thought might have the biggest struggles is Leicester, on the basis of off-pitch stuff. But they've actually got the most points, and they got themselves another win yesterday, won 1-0 at Charlton. And there's almost an argument that because Leicester have kind of kept it quite calm in the transfer market, because, late managerial change, off-pitch stuff, potential sanction coming in from EFL, probably got more continuity. And great win here. And this was memories of a couple of seasons ago. Abdul Fatawu, he is very, very good, isn't he? Beat up on the Championship. In fact, one of the best performances I saw by an individual player that particular season was Fatawu for Leicester against Southampton in that 5-1. He was bossing it, wasn't he? And what a goal in this one. And Charlton away is not going to be easy this season. I think it was a double clean sheet. It's first goal they've conceded. It had to be a hell of a strike, didn't it? So Leicester go there, get the win, and this is what you want in August from a year one parachute team. You kind of acknowledge that things are going to be difficult and there's going to be churn in transfer market, but just win some games. And yeah, the one against Sheffield Wednesday, red card, late goal, fine. Then they went and lost to Preston. There you go. Winning at Preston isn't for everybody, is it? And now they've got themselves the second win. This is the most viable performance, isn't it? With, the clean sheet and star winger whipping one in the corner. So not that I'm going to sit here and be mega excited, because look at how Leicester started 2 seasons ago, where they got the business done earlier and they had Maresca and, just went out like an absolute train, didn't they? But just be in the conversation, and Cifuentes needs time, and especially given how late he was hired and how he's probably had much fewer minutes on the training ground than other managers, particularly the other managers of the parachute team. So, yeah, well played, Leicester. Good start by Charlton. They're still on 4 points and look very competitive. So do Millwall. Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1. And Millwall like going to Bramall Lane. I think they won there, I say last season. I think they've won there twice this calendar year, haven't they? Let me check the head-to-head on that. Millwall 0, Sheffield United 0, Millwall 1, April the 8th. There you go. Deja vu all over again. Kundal with the only goal in this one. And so Millwall have already won at Norwich and at Sheffield United, which is great. Obviously, a 3-0 home defeat against Middlesbrough in between is not what you want. But, you know me, 2 points per game at any point during the season, even with a 3-0 home defeat sandwiched in between it. That'll do, won't it? All the Millwall fans have probably said, okay, 6 points from the first 3 games, particularly with 2 of them on the road. You probably would have thought one of the 3 points would have come at home, with Millwall being Millwall and just traditionally being a good home side and it being a hard place for away teams to go. But job done here. I'm slightly confused in terms of what we can expect. Maybe it's just that Middlesbrough result. Maybe that's an outlier and I shouldn't be confused. And Millwall are just going to be a competitive side, home and away, with goals in them and capacity to keep a clean sheet. And, once we've got more of a sample size, we can talk a bit more accurately without me being confused about a team with a negative goal difference and 2 points per game. So it's probably just that one result skewing me, messing with my mind a little bit. But great win for Millwall. They're 8th in the table on the 2 points per game. What are they doing to round out international break? Wrexham at home. That would be fascinating. We'll have a little word on Wrexham in just a jiffy. Sheffield United, yuck. Played 3, lost 3, and I got a couple of questions in the Q&A from Blades fans. Is Sellers the next Jokanovic? And I was like, I hope not, but I'm seeing some similar things. And if you don't remember, Slavisa Jokanovic, with a bit more pedigree actually, because he'd had promotions before with Watford and with Fulham, hadn't he, from the Championship? And he came in, it would have been, which season did Heckingbottom take them up? He came in 2020, 21, and then Heckingbottom took him up in 21, 22. I think I've got my years right there. Could be 1 year out on that. But the point I'm making is Jokanovic came in as a kind of fancied manager. And the sign was that you got this thing. And it's interesting that they're playing Millwall, because Millwall's kind of like a unique club that the manager really has to get the spirit of the club. It's probably something similar at Sheffield United, where if you see a manager come in, and I'm not saying Ruben Sellers doesn't get it or Slavisa Jokanovic didn't get it, but if there's not that fit between the fans, that synergy between the fans and the manager, it does go south there. They need to be collective there at Bramall Lane, don't they? And the alarm bells I've got here is, I remember seeing that at the start and Sheffield United fans telling me this just is not working. It is not working. And I don't know, there's not a lot of confidence already with the ownership, the managerial change. It's unhelpful that Chris Wilder is Chris Wilder and has done what he's done, and whoever leaked what, there is a narrative that Chris Wilder was hard done to in terms of being gotten rid of, kicked to the curb after 92 points on pitch and playoff final. And it might work out with Sellers, and you can clip this bit up and say, well, look what we were saying in August. But I think there's always that kind of thing sat in the background of, you couldn't have had anybody who knew the club and the ropes and the Championship more than Chris Wilder. But hey, they've chosen to make the change, and Sellers has lost all of his games so far, and it's not looking good. And it's difficult, isn't it, because you've kind of got the contrition approach in your post matches, and then you've got the I'm gonna fight. And of course, football managers are competitive people, and sometimes it doesn't sound great when you're losing all your games, and you're like, no, we're doing all right. Yeah, we got that bit wrong, but in the main, the players are doing what I'm telling them, and this is all going to be fine. He didn't say exactly that, but you take my point, don't you? Sheffield United struggling. 3 defeats from 3. Millwall, the latest winners there over at Bramall Lane. Who have I got to talk about? Our last winners, we will talk about the drawing teams a little bit in dispatches just at the end. But Blackburn, and this was very championship-y as well, wasn't it? Blackburn go and win 3-0 at Hull. And this with all the Hull fans telling me, oh, you see, you got us completely wrong, Ben. Despite us having a horrible, chaotic summer, you should have known we were going to be brilliant. And we are brilliant. And Hull obviously took 4 points from their first couple of games. And, you're kind of going, okay, maybe Hull are going to be all right this season. And then Blackburn lost their opening 2 games. And you look at it and you think, okay, Hull playing at home at Blackburn. It's not going to be a 3-0 away win, is it? So obviously Blackburn show up and win 3-0. Championship, everybody. Logic, completely out of the window. Have some empathy when we're doing our predictions on these things. It's bonkers, isn't it? Hedges, Ohashi, Campbell, captain Campbell. Is this one of those where you do that to get the best out of him? He's been a talented but, what's the right word, distracted footballer at times. Lovely free kick for the second as well by Cantwell around the corner. Hedges crosses it for Ohashi. Cantwell himself gets the third, but the first goal is an absolute beaut, isn't it? It's poked through by Cardbo. Hedges, little dinker. I love a dink finish. So tremendous win for Blackburn, who were, look at that. 3xG, 6 shots on target as well. Can I sit here and say 3-0 does not flatter them there? You tell me if you were at the game. And Hull disappeared on this one after a good start. But as I say, I'm in semi-sarcastic with all the Hull fans ribbing me the last couple of weeks. But decent start by Hull. So this one's a bit of an alarm. You don't want to be losing 3-0 at home ever, do you? But some sense that things are not all doom and gloom. Hull above Blackburn, obviously in the table, 15th and 16th at time of recording, 4 points and 3 points. The Championship, everybody befuddling me at the MKM there. Hull 0, Blackburn 3. Right, let's round this out. Let's talk about a few draws. We will really quickly skim over Bristol City, who drew 1-1 at Derby on Friday night. I did that in the watch along, so you can, if you don't want to watch a full 2 hours of that, which you probably don't, there's the clock up there. Click to 90 and I'll do a little summings up at the end of the game. If you want to use those watch alongs as well, always good to go to the end of the first half as well. You get a summing up of either half, which tends to work quite well for knowing what I thought of the game. Swansea 1, Watford 1, Iran Kunda. Wow, what a free kick this was. Whipping this one over the wall into the top corner with the right foot to give Watford the lead in the first half. Vipotnik, they thought they were getting the win there. Gal Brave seems to have started well. He's coming up as my top man here on FootMob there. What are the stats telling me? That there wasn't much on the goal here. Swansea edged the possession. 1-1 doesn't seem massively unreasonable. This from a person who's only seen the goals and looked at the stats there. So maybe you could tell me more if you were at the game. I suspect both Watford and Swans fans be happy enough with 4 points from 3 games. It's the classic win one, draw one, lose one to start with. And maybe Swans were, finished last season, whereas Watford is kind of always a bit like, what are we going to get from Watford this season? So, all right, start from both. Let me know if you're at the game. You can talk in much more detail in the comments and smarten everybody up. Finally, Wrexham 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2. I suppose the thing a lot of people will take out of this is Wrexham still haven't won. And Wrexham, with all their hype, seem ripe for the beating on social media, don't they? Each to your own, whatever floats your boat. Hey, they were 2-0 up in this one. And it's something that annoys me in kind of football cliche analysis-ism, is that anybody who was ever 2-0 up, they threw away their lead, which gives absolutely no credit to the opposition who fought back and made it 2-2. It's like, I don't know. I just think it's a bit slightly reductive thinking to just assume that any side who gets a 2-goal advantage should automatically win, and game state is absolutely irrelevant in terms of the team who's 2-0 down being able to really throw caution to the wind. And we do see a lot of games go from, 2-0, particularly when it's clean at half time, and, basically the second half is just go out and go for it. And that is what Sheffield Wednesday did in this one. Big Kiefer Moore wrapped in a couple of goals in the first half to make it 2-0. And the comeback in the second half, this is great. Bannon 63, Kadamatari 81. There's a breakaway with virtually the last kick of stoppage time, which Sheffield Wednesday could have won this. So, point apiece, 2 goals apiece. Phil Parkinson calling it their kind of game of two halves that they switched off in the second half. From a Wrexham point of view, I've been kindish to Wrexham so far. I watched the first 2 games actually on watch-alongs. Thought they were unlucky against Southampton. West Brom, I think, were good value there. Decent enough performance. And we looked at it and thought, right, can you get the win over beleaguered Sheffield Wednesday? And maybe they should have. And they didn't. And it's going to rumble on. And the longer Wrexham go without winning, the more attention that is going to garner. So, I mean, they've just signed Callum Doyle for a load of money as well. Maybe they've got the same problem Ipswich have got, that they've taken a team, I mean, obviously Ipswich had a relegation in between, but, primarily a team that had been a winning team and, spent money at a new level on it and kind of broken it up. And Phil Parkinson's dancing that dance at the moment with some pretty ambitious recruitment in the summer, and he's got to fashion that into the pattern of play and use the momentum that they've built already down at the racecourse there. For Sheffield Wednesday, and Sam said this on the predictions, he said, Ben, Wednesday are going to win soon. And they've just been the team, I think, that's been far more improved than everybody's expectations. The team in the whole league. I expected to fully that Sheffield Wednesday would be on 0 points here. Okay, they've improved massively, Ben. They've gone from 0 to 1 point. But the point is they've been competitive away at Leicester. Okay, Stoke at home, that didn't work. And now they come back from 2-0 down to get a point away at Wrexham. So maybe there's no surprise that when they're away from, Mr. Chansiri and Sheffield and all of that cauldron there and bad vibes, that maybe they're going to be better away from home. And that siege mentality, I still maintain they can't afford any injuries whatsoever, how thin that squad is. And maybe they can do some business again. We'll have to look into embargoes and free transfer deals over the I think they can register players now, can't they? I think I'm right in saying that, over the last knock-ins of this transfer window. But I'm sure the Wednesday fans wouldn't have expected to be so close against Leicester, and they would have expected to have 0 points, not 1 so far. So it has been better than we possibly thought for Sheffield Wednesday. There you go. There are your EFL hot takes here for a Sunday morning as this fruit fly buzzes around my face. This is the joy of having your office in your garage in the summer. They always get in here, don't they? I need you to get in here now. Get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Our big headlines are Stoke and Middlesbrough going 3 for 3. Coventry scoring 7s and 5s all the time. Anything you want to talk about with your team or any other team that's kind of surprised you? Ipswich and Norwich in 17th and 18th. Sheffield United down at the bottom. Southampton in 10th. So we do not have 4 parachute teams as the top 4. In fact, Southampton and Leicester in 7th and 10th. We don't even have any of them in the top 6 at the moment. So a slightly strange looking Championship table to start after 3 games. And for all of you people who say, Don't look at the table until Easter. Or whatever, fine. Whatever, you do you. I'm going to look at the table. Sorry, and that table has Sheffield United at the bottom of it on 0 points. Is that the biggest surprise? Let me know all your thoughts down there in the comments. I will be on the Sportsman podcast once again. That will be tomorrow. Don't know who I'm on with. It's a busy week. I'm all over the place. And we'll be back with Sam probably on Tuesday as well. So plenty coming up. Get down there in the comments and have a wonderful Sunday.